We're just going to go through the master catalogue in Envisioneer. You will notice on the right hand side where the catalogue appears, it has a number of folders. If I expand out, say, the veneer walls in this case, we can then have subfolders underneath. And we can break it up into different categories if we like, or we can just have elements directly underneath it. It depends on how you want to work. If I expand out the brick folder, you'll then notice that I have a series of brick veneer walls. If I click on one of the brick veneer walls, down the bottom you have a little preview window, and that shows you what the element's going to look like as you build it up with the parameters within the element's properties. If I turn it to the internal side of the wall, you'll notice that I do have a cornice at the top of it and I have a skirting at the bottom of it. On the external side, I have a brick texture attached to it. If I want to add or edit or delete that wall, you basically touch the wall and use your right mouse button, and then that will bring up the menu of what you can do with the catalogue. So actually, if I want to add an element and I've highlighted that 220 brick veneer wall, then it's going to adopt the properties from that wall. If I just want to edit that 220 wall, I just select Edit Element. The dialog that appears now is the properties that's based on that 220 brick veneer wall. You will notice that a wall or a door or a window, any element you add in Envisioneer, has a name, and that is a description. That description that I've highlighted there is what I want to call the wall. You will notice to the right it has an auto name button. If I tick that, you'll notice that the name changes. The name is then compiled from the width of the wall, as down here it's a 70mm wall, and it's a framed wall. That's what I've got. If I click to a general wall, that name changes. So it can be an automatic naming convention if you want to. If you want to go that way, then you can play around with the options here, and that is a little bit more advanced, but by all means have a look around. I prefer to call the wall what I want to call it, so I'm going to call it a 220 brick veneer, and it's got plasterboard on the inside. I tend to have my catalogue and the descriptions named for what internal linings I have on the wall, because I tend to want to link it with estimating programs. So if I've got it linked with plasterboard, then I can get how many square meters of plasterboard. If I've got a wet area sheet on the wall, I name it wet area board, and then therefore I can break up the quantities into my internal linings. You have a number of tabs going across the top of the element. We have a basic tab, a top and bottom tab, a trim, appearance and quantity tab. Under the basic, you can then select the type of wall you're going to have. So in this case, it's a general frame concrete masonry girdle log wall. Down the bottom, we then enter the parameters to the wall. Now notice as I touched the 70mm here, which is called the core of the wall, and it's got an A there. The A on the picture on the left hand side was highlighted in a green colour. If I go down to the B and touch that, notice that the image to the side changes and the B is highlighted. That's to indicate so that you know what you're answering as you click into the different parameters here. And that goes all the same all the way through doors, windows, etc. We go across to the top and the bottom and you'll get different preferences. You go to the trim, appearances and the quantity. We'll go through these in more depth once we get to the walls and doors and windows. I'll go through each element's properties in more depth. We hit OK, and actually I've just edited that. If I want to add one, I can right click and go add, and I might change that to say 225. I might make that 75 and click OK. I've now got a wall. If I right click, notice there's my 225 wall. Now if I don't want it there and I want to delete it, then actually all you do is you touch it again, right click and go delete. It'll allow you to delete it if it hasn't been used. If it's been used in the project, then it will not allow you to delete it, so just be careful there. Come across to the top here and I go to doors. So naturally I can scroll up to the top, I can minimize the internal sliding doors and you can see I've got a series of doors. So I'll go patio doors, sliding glass doors. If I touch that, that's the door I've got. If I minimise that, go to bifold doors, and you can see there's my bifold door. So it's very simple to get around the catalogue. You can add, edit or delete anything in the catalogue you like to your heart's content, and that would go for all the elements in the program under the building, interior, landscape or terrain. Okay, and if you've got any questions, by all means phone or email me. That is the all I'm going to talk about as far as the catalogue's concerned at this stage. Thank you.